Rain lashed against windows, creating a symphony of relentless tapping. Each drop seemed to carry the weight of the storm's fury, a prelude to the chaos that was about to unfold. The wind howled like a banshee, its eerie wail echoing through the night. Trees bent under the pressure, their branches straining and creaking as if they might snap at any moment. The air was thick with the scent of rain and the electric charge of an impending tempest. This wasn't just a storm. It was a furious assault by nature, a display of raw, untamed power. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the dark clouds in brief, blinding flashes. Thunder rumbled like a distant drum, a constant reminder of the storm's might. In Fort Smith, Arkansas, Deborah Stevens, a 47-year-old woman with a heart as big as the approaching storm, set out on her usual route, delivering newspapers in the pre-dawn darkness. Her car's headlights cut through the sheets of rain, casting long shadows on the deserted streets. Little did she know this routine act of dedication would be her last. The storm had transformed the familiar streets into a labyrinth of danger, each turn a potential trap. The floodwaters rose quickly, turning roads into rivers and intersections into lakes. The roads, usually familiar, were now treacherous alien paths. Deborah's car struggled against the rising tide, the engine sputtering as water seeped into its innards. The once solid ground beneath her wheels had become a shifting, unpredictable terrain. Each streetlight reflected a shimmering, growing danger, floodwater. The lights, usually a source of guidance and safety, now cast eerie reflections on the water's surface, distorting reality and heightening the sense of peril. Deborah, a woman of simple means and strong faith, continued her route, a testament to her work ethic and the quiet heroism of ordinary people. She navigated the storm with a determination born of necessity, her mind focused on completing her task despite the growing danger. But the water, an indifferent and relentless force, had other plans. It surged forward with a mindless determination, sweeping away everything in its path. Deborah's car, her lifeline in the storm, was no match for the flood's unyielding power. The storm had become a battle, and nature was winning. The water, once a gentle lapping at the tires, quickly turned into a raging torrent. The rain had been relentless, transforming the streets into rivers. Deborah had been driving home, unaware of the impending danger. The water rose with alarming speed, surrounding her car, cutting off any chance of escape. Deborah's car, a symbol of her hard-won independence, was now a metal cage, trapping her in a nightmare. She had worked so hard to buy this car, her first major purchase after landing her dream job. Now, it was betraying her, becoming a prison as the water continued to rise. The engine sputtered, coughed, and died. She was stranded. Panic set in as she realized the gravity of her situation. The water was now up to her knees and the car was no longer a safe haven. She had to act quickly, but her mind was racing, clouded by fear. Fear, cold and sharp, cut through the darkness. It was a primal fear, the kind that grips you and won't let go. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, each beat a reminder of the precious time slipping away. The darkness outside the car only added to her terror, making her feel even more isolated and vulnerable. Her lifeline, a cell phone, offered a glimmer of hope. She fumbled for it, her hands shaking uncontrollably. The screen lit up, a small beacon in the overwhelming darkness. She knew she had to stay calm, but it was easier said than done. Her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, each one more terrifying than the last. Frantically she dialed 911, her fingers trembling, each ring a hammer blow on her raw nerves. The line connected. She could hear the ringing, each tone echoing in the confined space of the car. It felt like an eternity before someone picked up, but finally she heard a voice on the other end. A voice calm and steady answered. It was a lifeline, a thread of hope in the overwhelming chaos. The dispatcher asked her to stay calm, to describe her location and situation. Deborah tried to speak clearly, but her voice was shaking, her words coming out in a rush. For Deborah, it was a beacon in the storm. The dispatcher's calm demeanor was a stark contrast to the panic she felt. She clung to the voice, hoping it would guide her to safety. The water was now up to her waist, and she could feel the cold seeping into her bones. She clung to it, desperate, praying for rescue. Tears streamed down her face as she described her location, her voice breaking with emotion. She could hear the dispatcher typing, relaying her information to the rescue teams. Every second felt like an eternity, the weight unbearable. But the voice on the other end of the line wouldn't offer the solace she so desperately craved. The dispatcher informed her that rescue teams were on their way, but the conditions were making it difficult. Deborah's heart sank. She was running out of time, and the water was still rising. 911, what's your emergency? the voice asked, a detached tone cutting through Deborah's panic. She gasped, struggling to speak, her words tumbling out in a torrent of terror, mirroring the floodwaters engulfing her. She described her predicament, her voice cracking under the weight of her fear. But the voice on the other end, instead of offering reassurance, turned cold, almost mocking. "This will teach you. Next time, don't drive in the water," the dispatcher said, her words like ice shards piercing Deborah's hope. Humiliation and disbelief washed over Deborah, a cruel counterpoint to the rising floodwaters. Donna Renault, the voice behind the 911 call, wasn't a heartless monster. She was a woman approaching retirement, weary from years on the front lines of human misery. That morning, the dispatch center was a scene of chaos. The storm had unleashed fury, overwhelming the lines, each call a desperate plea for help. Deborah's call was one of many, each detailing a similar story of rising water and imminent danger. The pressure, the constant barrage of human suffering had taken its toll. Donna, hardened by years of service, had lost her empathy, her words a reflection of her own exhaustion, not the malice Deborah perceived. Section 5. Racing against the current. As Deborah fought for her life, first responders were dispatched. Every second ticked by with agonizing slowness. The rescuers, heroes in their own right, battled not only the flood but also the clock, their sirens a mournful wail against the storm's symphony of destruction. But the flood, a relentless adversary, had other plans. Roads were transformed into raging rivers, landmarks disappeared under a churning muddy torrent. The rescuers, their faces grim, their resolve unwavering, were hampered at every turn. Time, that precious commodity, was slipping away. Section 6. The blue light fades. Inside her sinking car, Deborah listened to the approaching sirens, a symphony of hope against the storm's roar. But the hope soon faded, replaced by a chilling realization. The sirens, once so close, were receding, swallowed by the storm. The water now inside the car rose steadily, a cold, suffocating embrace. Deborah, her voice hoarse, her spirit broken, made one last desperate plea, only to be met with the dispatcher's chilling words, "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to shut up." These words, devoid of compassion, would be her final interaction with the world. Section 7. Public outrage ignites. The storm passed, leaving behind a trail of devastation and a city reeling in shock. Deborah Stevens, the hardworking newspaper carrier, was gone, swallowed by the flood, and a system seemingly indifferent to her plight. When the 911 call was released, it ignited a firestorm of outrage. People were horrified. How could a person in need be treated with such disdain? The story, fueled by the raw emotion captured in the 911 call, spread like wildfire. Donna Renault, the dispatcher, became the target of public fury. News outlets dissected the call, social media erupted in condemnation, and the nation asked, how could this happen? Section 8. Finding forgiveness, seeking justice. Deborah's family, shattered by grief, grappled with the unimaginable. Their beloved Deborah taken not just by a natural disaster but also by a system that failed her. Yet amidst their pain, they found the strength to forgive. They understood the pressures of emergency work, the toll it takes on even the most dedicated. Their forgiveness, a testament to their faith and humanity, did not quell the need for justice. The incident became a catalyst for change. The nation demanded better training for 911 operators, more resources for emergency services, and a system that prioritized compassion alongside efficiency. Section 9. A Legacy of Compassion. Deborah Stevens' tragic death, a stark reminder of the human cost of indifference, became a turning point. On that fateful day, the floodwaters rose rapidly, catching everyone off guard. Deborah, trapped in her car, made a desperate call for help. Her pleas, however, were met with a lack of urgency and empathy, a reflection of a system that had grown too accustomed to routine. Her story, forever etched in the annals of 911 calls gone wrong, served as a wake-up call. The recording of her final moments, filled with fear and desperation, resonated deeply with the public. It was a stark reminder that behind every call is a human life, a person in need of compassion and swift action. It highlighted the crucial role of empathy, the need for compassion in a world often driven by cold efficiency. The incident sparked widespread outrage and led to a re-evaluation of how emergency services operate. Training programs were scrutinized, and the importance of emotional intelligence in high-stress situations was brought to the forefront. Her legacy lives on in the improved training programs for 911 operators, which now emphasize the importance of empathy and quick decision-making. These programs are designed to ensure that operators are better equipped to handle emergencies with the sensitivity and urgency they require. The increased funding for mental health support for first responders is another significant change. Recognizing the emotional toll that such jobs can take, there are now more resources available to help these professionals cope with the stress and trauma they encounter daily. And the countless acts of kindness shown to those in need have become a testament to the power of community and compassion. People are more aware of the importance of looking out for one another, especially in times of crisis. Deborah's story, a tragedy born of a storm and a system's failings, became a beacon. It shone a light on the flaws within the emergency response system and inspired a movement towards change. Illuminating the path towards a more compassionate and responsive world, her legacy continues to inspire. It serves as a constant reminder that in the face of adversity, empathy and swift action can make all the difference.